Good morning, good evening. This is a science fiction story. This didn't happen to me or had not happened or whatsoever. This is only a creative story that I wrote up and thought about, and that too. So we're going to get on with the story. As I know, I wake up on a big, gigantic spacecraft. And I'm looking at, trying to figure, okay, what the controls do. Trying to look at these door controls and the bridge, so I figure out which one does which. What I want to do is get the ship turned around, heading back to Earth. And I'm trying to, I'm figuring out, what button to what. So I started looking around. I found the ship sensors. They were used to ship internal sensors. Found out there was somebody else on the ship too. It was my lady friend, Wee Bird, was on the ship. I can't mention, I found out the bird was on the ship too. So I turned around and she didn't know what to do. I ended up figured out where intercom was. They used intercom to get her. She couldn't figure out how to use intercom. She's sitting on my friend, that lady friend, sitting on her phone trying to get Facebook and can't get Facebook, couldn't get social media, couldn't get anything on the phone. I'm trying to say, well, she didn't know where she was in panic, and said, I'm gonna try to get a bus, and I finally got to her. He said, look where we are. We're somewhere in deep space, hundreds of light years from Earth. I don't know how the hell we gotta turn this ship around, get it back to Earth, and what to do here. We gotta, we're totally on our own here. We only two on the whole entire spacecraft. What should we do here? I don't know how we got here, what the reason being here, but what can we do? Then I turned around and there was this man on board who Mr. Bowman was on board, Clyde Bowman. And I said to Clyde, well, for you, I'm going to have to do something about you. Unfortunately, you are a very bad man. I don't want you on my ship. But I am going to send you to and I realized ship had detention cells on board. So I took him down to the detention cell. I put him in the detention cell. And then I started using the ship's logs and scanners. I tried to scan the space to see how we are and getting data. Once I used the ship's navigational instrument to find out where we were, I realized we'd gone 30 trillion light years. Now, it's going to take 30 trillion years to get back, but there was a planet nearby that's suitable for life. So, and it's a planet, but also we decided at that point, I contacted them figured out where the galactic communication was. I contacted them, and they said, well, the person got on board, Clyde, had intergalactic warrant for a lot of stuff. Well, he killed people on board the ship you have. And they're our people. We want them for 9,000 counts of murder. But when I said, what your punishment for that? Our punishment is that we will break him down. We actually will. Our punishment is that we put him on a planet where he cannot. Punishment him gonna be this: he'd be dehumanized and turned into a watery liquid, and that will remain that way. That's a punishment. I can deliver him. Okay, so I delivered him there and dropped him off there. And then I asked them help and how to turn the ship around, get it back to Earth. And they said, well, we're going to help you there with that, But they showed me how to turn this thing around. By that time, I able to get turned around, and my lady friend, Miss Bird, had to, do things. We got rid of him, but we tried to do things there. She just wanted to go further while trying to get Facebook, couldn't. And I can't tell her we're not even on Earth, just an alien planet. I dropped him off there. Punishment. He killed the alien beings that from this planet that sent the ship out. He killed these alien beings. He had to be punished for it, unfortunately. It doesn't matter where the law is. You murder somebody, whether you murder them in out in deep space, whether you murder them on Earth, it doesn't matter. Still, a law is a law. It doesn't matter where you travel. In the galaxy, law it's a law, I said, and that's a fact. He did this. He would have murdered you if him told me I ended up on board the ship mysteriously. Now, were you and Clyde be on that ship? Well, it would not, if it wouldn't, he would not, he could have murdered you. Well, disappearance on Earth would explain something too, but anyways, so I got the ship turned around, and we started heading back towards Earth. Well, as days and weeks and months gone by, and we were sitting there saying, can we ever will we get here? Well, looking at the ship's, index, well, it was over 5 years. Well, we were about close to Earth. I'm gonna take it. We should be there. Actually, we should be right on Earth about 1 minute before we were picked up. But actually, right within an hour or so, within 2 days, simply time reducted here. And finally, we're getting in. Finally, we made it after 10 years. We made it to Earth. But before I got there, I scanned ahead and seen that, the coronavirus ended in 2021 in a dream. And then I realized that it ended in 2021 by March and all that. But by the time we got there, it was back in an hour after last September of 2020. We finally made it there. Once we arrived there in September, 5 days after we left, but it took over 5 years to get there. But we made it, the whole entire spacecraft. Finally, when we got there, and then I did a radio to the International Space Station in orbit, and I verified who we were, that we did, that there was a hardened criminal that was dropped off on an alien planet, far, far away, over 52,000 light years away. It took us 5 years to get back to Earth. 5 years, it was 20 minutes by Earth time here. Well, one hour and 5 hours here on Earth, but it's 500 years, for 5 years on board the ship. And what we wanted us to do with it, and vice versa. And they turned around and they talked then I was talking to Canadian military and Canadian government on them asking what we want to do with the ship. Should we land it? Where do we want to land it? Could we want us to land it at Mount Hope on that, or want me to land it at down Trenton, CFB Trenton. And they said, okay, well, I was instructed at that point land at Trenton, so we brought it into Trenton. I landed down to Trenton and be able to get off the ship at that point. We come out, and they came by and they talked to us. They talked to us. They want us to do 14-day quarantine. But I said, can we do 14-day quarantine on board this spacecraft if we were to lock up the doors and just use the ship's internal power, internal nuclear reactor power? We can do 14-day quarantine with all the food we have on board the ship, and then with this replicator. And when we finish it, well, coming off the ship, we'll know how to do 14-day quarantine. And then they looked at this and said, well, I don't see why not. I went back on the ship, did 14-day quarantine on board, finished the 14-day quarantine, come off the ship, And we shook hands with Prime Minister Trudeau and all the officials out there. And what they do, I handed the ship over to the Canadian government at that point, to the Canadian Armed Forces of the government. And I told them everything, I showed them everything about the ship, what it can do, where it can capable flying great distance of space. And they said, well, you know, then Trudeau said to me, you did a you did great service for our country. You know, you brought us proof. Yes, alien life forms exist out in deep space. Alien life forms exist in deep space, and alien ships out there. And UFOs no longer myth because you proved it on the reason of doubt. So finally, after we were awarded and everything happened, I ended my dream. I came back to Hamilton with a hero welcome. I felt great. A big hero welcome, everything happened. Came back here, you know, it was just gorgeous. And then after a while, bus on a ship that had a cure, had a vaccine for coronavirus, which was widely used to cure coronavirus. So coronavirus was wiped out after the ship came, after brought back here. So then, and we live happy ever after, all over.